Date June 24th, 2009. I am Lucius Aeternus, an angel of death. My task, though heavy, is inevitable, to watch and wait for the end. Today, I am with Marcus Jackson. For decades, he's shown as the king of music, captivating millions with his charisma. But behind the scenes, he was haunted by insomnia and anxiety. His mind was a battlefield of silent wars, the reflection of years of pressure and expectations. Time 8:10 a.m., 29 hours and 50 minutes until Marcus's death. Marcus's night had been turbulent. Between confusing thoughts and the discomfort of elusive sleep, he finally drifted off for just a few minutes. And in that brief moment, everything changed. He found himself on a radiant stage, surrounded by an intense and welcoming light. The audience wasn't ordinary. They were luminous figures, radiating peaceful, comforting energy. His feet began to move in a gentle dance, as if directly connected to the energy that surrounded him. There was no music, only silence, but it felt warm and inviting. For the first time in a long time, Marcus felt at peace. Suddenly, a voice filled the air. I, Lucius, appeared among the glowing figures, bathed in radiant light. This is your dance, Marcus. The glow of these lights is now your melody. Enjoy this moment. It is yours. I will be here with you. Marcus awoke softly, and he looked at the clock and saw that it was 8:10 a.m. He felt light, a sensation of tranquility, as if all the weight had lifted off him. He knew something special had happened in that dream, like he had connected briefly with something greater, something brighter. As he stood up, something unusual happened. The room, once dim in the early morning light, was bathed in a subtle golden glow. Marcus, still disoriented, felt a slight pressure in his chest. It wasn't pain, but warmth, something that brought him comfort. He stood still, absorbing the moment. The light seemed to come from within him, wrapping him in a peaceful aura. For a brief moment, the pain and fatigue that had tormented him vanished. Marcus felt a new energy welling up inside him, something he couldn't fully understand but knew was bigger than him. Time, 10:15 a.m. to 7 hours and 45 minutes remaining. Marcus began rehearsing. His movements still carried the precision that had always defined him, but something had changed. He felt an unexpected calm, almost divine. It was as if the moment from that morning lingered within him. That feeling stayed with him as he returned to the choreography. He didn't know it, but the shadow of death had already settled over him. I watched silently, aware that Marcus, deep down, was beginning to sense what was coming. But unlike many who face the end, he didn't feel fear. On the contrary, a vibrant energy, long dormant, seemed to come alive within him. It was as if, ironically, the closeness of death was bringing back the essence of life. Marcus danced with an uncommon lightness, his mind serene. Every movement was felt with a renewed intensity, not for the audience, but for himself. The music enveloped him in a way it hadn't in years, and on some level he knew this dance was unique, not because it would be his last, but because, for the first time in years, he truly felt alive. Time, 1 p.m. to 26 hours left until Marcus Jackson's departure. I watched Marcus on stage. They've been rehearsing since 10 a.m. Marcus embodies perfectionism, always striving for excellence in every move. The rhythm of the music wraps around him and his body responds with precision. Although exhaustion is obvious, he uses it as fuel, pushing himself even harder. The stage lights reflect off his sweaty skin, a testament to his dedication and passion. Every step, even calculated, is executed with determination as he continuously seeks to surpass his own limits. Marcus halts the rehearsal and gathers the team. Everyone is drained. His voice, soft and tired, almost sounds like a farewell. Listen, we've been running so hard toward tomorrow that we've forgotten to live today. Life is a constant dance. We spend so much time trying to be perfect, trying to impress others. But who touches our hearts? Who makes us feel alive? Each of you has the chance to do things differently. Don't lose yourselves in this race against time. Live every step as if it's your last. Thank you for being with me. You're more than just coworkers, you're loyal companions. The room falls silent. Marcus smiles, but his eyes reveal a weight that only a few can understand. He bids a brief farewell, and work resumes, though a sense of finality lingers in the air. Time, 3 p.m., 24 hours until Marcus Jackson's farewell. After a break, Marcus and the team return to the stage, but now the movements are slower, and exhaustion seems to be pulling him down. Marcus's body starts to resist, begging for rest, but his mind remains determined. Time, 5:30 p.m., 21 hours and 30 minutes left. After 2 hours of non-stop rehearsing, Marcus takes another break. He tells his team to hydrate and grab something to eat. The rehearsal has drained him more than he expected, so he heads to the bathroom to splash water on his face. The sound of the water running fills the quiet space. He looks up and faces his reflection in the mirror, but the man staring back at him doesn't seem the same. There's something melancholic and mysterious in his eyes. As he leaves the bathroom, he bumps into someone, a tall man dressed in a perfectly tailored black suit. "It's me, Lucius Aeternus." "Marcus," I say softly, almost in a whisper, "don't fear the cycle. When the final note fades, it's because a new melody is about to begin." He looks at me for a moment, surprised by the calmness he feels. He wants to speak, but his words fade away. A chill runs down his spine, yet it's not fear he feels. On the contrary, there's an unusual serenity. Something inside him settles, as if my presence brought a deep understanding. He searches for more answers, but when his eyes seek mine again, I've already vanished. Only the memory of my words remains. Time, 6 p.m. to 20 hours left until Marcus Jackson's departure. Marcus stands still for a while, confused but oddly at peace. He touches his chest where he feels a soft warmth, and for a moment, time seems to stop. The clock, his old enemy, is no longer a concern. He senses that something inside him has changed, but he's unsure of what it is. He drinks some water, eats a piece of fruit, and returns to rehearsal. Time, midnight, 14 hours left. After long hours, the rehearsal finally ends. Marcus watches as his team starts to disperse, and he feels the need to speak one last time. He turns to everyone. "I know it's late and you're all exhausted. Every sacrifice you make here matters. We are a team, and together, we create something extraordinary." His eyes meet Sarah's, the assistant he had wronged during a moment of stress. He walks over to her. "Sarah, I want to apologize. I was wrong. The pressure blinded me, and you deserved more. Thank you for never giving up." She smiles with tears in her eyes. "Thank you, Marcus. Your words mean a lot." Date, June 25th, 2009. Time, 1 a.m. to 13 hours until Marcus Jackson's departure. Back in his mansion, Marcus lies in bed, but sleep doesn't come. He battles with insomnia. His doctor, always by his side, administers sedatives, Valium, Ativan, Versed. None of them seem to work. I remain close, watching as he fights through the night, his eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling, as if searching for answers in the shadows. Marcus closes his eyes for a moment and, as if in a dream, sees his childhood. He and his brothers on stage, under the bright lights with fake smiles on innocent faces. The memory of his first performance comes vividly to life. Him, small, barely able to reach the microphone, surrounded by a sea of cheers and applause. His brothers by his side, always present. He remembers the stern look of his father in the background and the mixture of fear and pride he felt. That was the beginning of everything, and also the end. Time, 3 a.m. to 11 hours until Marcus Jackson's death. Marcus is still awake, his eyes heavy, and his body crying out for rest. He turns to the side, his heart racing, feeling it of a life lived under the spotlight, the pressure of success, the need to always be perfect, now drenched in solitude. He feels that something different is happening, and it disturbs him. The fear of the unknown keeps him from surrendering to sleep. Another dose of sedatives is given, but the silence he seeks remains elusive. I continue to watch, knowing his time is running out. Time, 6 a.m. to 8 hours before Marcus Jackson's passing. The first light of dawn slowly creeps through the heavy curtains. Marcus, lying in bed, watches as the soft rays fill the room. He's exhausted, his body weighed down by medication, his mind restless, spiraling. Every part of him feels as though it's on the edge of collapse. But then, a beam of sunlight touches his face, bringing an unexpected, comforting warmth. I stand beside him, observing closely. A ray of light, as if guided by some invisible force, strikes directly at his heart. Marcus feels something shift. A rare warmth spreads through him, like the sun has breathed a final sigh of life into him. He takes a deep breath, and for a fleeting moment, the crushing weight on his chest seems to lighten. That ray feels like a final chance, a last whisper of hope. For just a brief instant, he experiences a calm he hasn't felt in a long time. Time, 10:48, 3 hours and 20 minutes before Marcus Jackson's farewell. A quiet, uneasy stillness has fallen over the mansion. Every second is marked by the ticking of the clock as Marcus lies in bed, fighting for rest. Heavy curtains block most of the daylight, trapping him in a space between the world outside and his silent struggle. The hours of sleeplessness, the relentless burden of his exhaustion are fading into a tranquil surrender. I watch closely. The final dose of propofol flows into Marcus's veins, its effect almost immediate. His muscles, tense from years of resistance, begin to relax. His breathing slows, deepening briefly as if his body has finally found the peace it craved. But I know, this is not the peace he imagined. At that moment, Marcus finds himself standing on a brilliantly lit stage, as though ready for the performance of a lifetime. Before him, a crowd of familiar faces, childhood friends, family, and fans who followed his journey. All of them watch in silence, their gazes filled with admiration and love. The stage is bathed in a soft light, reflecting the brilliance of his career, each memory etched into the expressions of the audience. Marcus stands in the center, feeling whole, as though his entire life has led to this single moment. Suddenly, I rise from the crowd, moving slowly toward him. My eyes, filled with compassion and understanding, meet his. Gentle applause echoes faintly, but between us there is a profound, wordless quiet. With a soft voice, I say, "Marcus, your life was a true spectacle. You captivated hearts, brought tears, laughter. You turned the world into your stage and your music into a gift. But now, this is your final performance." Marcus smiles, his eyes glistening, fully aware that this is his final goodbye. He glances once more at the audience, feeling the energy of every soul he's touched with his art. The crowd rises, offering him one last standing ovation, a timeless tribute to the legend he's become. The music of his life fades on a note of peace, as he, guided by me, embraces the end of this grand performance, his soul bathed in eternal light. He's ready, I think, as silence fills the room. The room is draped in shadows, the air thick, almost suffocating. Dr. Muri, tense beside the bed, watches Marcus with anxious eyes. Fear creeps into his expression. The dose may have been too much. There's a brief moment of hesitation, a flicker of dread. He checks the monitors, feels for a pulse, but he already knows something is terribly wrong. I, Lucius Aeternus, watch intently. Each second counts now. Every breath, a quiet farewell. Marcus's soul is loosening, like a melody losing its notes one by one. The process is slow, almost imperceptible, but I can feel it. His spirit is on the verge of crossing over. The overdose of propofol moves through Marcus like a silent, deadly poison. Within moments, it courses through his veins, reaching his heart and brain. The effect is swift, overwhelming. His nervous system, overloaded, begins to fail. Synapses, which usually fire to keep vital functions alive, shut down one by one, like a city's lights going out gradually. His once tense muscles fall into a deep relaxation, but there is no relief. Deprived of oxygen, his brain begins to collapse. The cerebral cortex, responsible for his thoughts and perceptions, shuts down quickly. Marcus's consciousness starts to slip away, his body giving in to the approaching darkness. His eyelids flutter before closing, the sensation of airlessness growing with every passing second. His lungs, unable to draw breath, begin to falter. The brain's desperation for oxygen is mirrored in his faltering heartbeat, once strong, now slowing, erratic. His heart, strained by the drug, tries to push through, but each beat is weaker than the last. Marcus takes his final breath, but it never reaches his lungs. His respiratory system collapses completely, the lungs no longer expand. Every cell, every organ is starved of the oxygen needed to sustain life, and the inevitable failure sets in. His body begins to give way. His heart, now nearly still, beats one last time, slow and uneven. Then it stops. In that moment, death takes him. The room is engulfed in a profound, final silence. Marcus's body lies still, fragile as a statue, his life slipping away into nothingness. Time, 1:21 p.m., 39 minutes until Marcus Jackson's passing. I approach. This is the moment that comes for everyone. Time's invisible hand has struck the final chord of his life. Marcus's last breath escapes his lips, and it feels as though even the air itself pauses to witness his departure. Dr. Muri notices the faltering heartbeat, the weakening signs of life. Desperation takes over as he attempts to resuscitate him, his efforts futile. Marcus is already beyond the reach of the living. I extend my hand. Come, Marcus. It's time. There is no more pain, no more struggle, only acceptance. Marcus Jackson's soul, long burdened by the weight of fame and expectation, finally breaks free, light as a breeze. In life, he was a legend, but here, in the presence of death, he is simply human. I guide him as the world outside keeps spinning, unaware that a legend has passed. The heart monitors displayed a cold, unrelenting line. The deafening, endless beep pierced the room. Time seemed to stretch as the doctor fumbled for the phone, his hands trembling. His voice, thick with panic, begged for help, but deep down, he knew. Marcus Jackson, this brilliant, uncontrollable flame, was flickering out before his eyes. Time, 1:50 p.m., 10 minutes before the king of pop's last breath. The paramedics burst into Marcus's room, the tension thick in the air. "No pulse," one shouts, ripping open the defibrillator. Time becomes a blur as they rush to attach the electrodes to his chest. His skin, pale and cold, had lost its vitality. Charged to 200 joules. Clear. The jolt shakes his lifeless body, but the monitor stays unmoving, a cruel, continuous line. Again. Another charge. The desperation in the paramedic's voice is clear, but Marcus's body remains still. A paramedic begins chest compressions, each push on his sternum echoing like a cruel hammer as minutes tick by and sweat trickles down their foreheads. The rhythm isn't back. Prepare for intubation. The lead paramedic orders, inserting a tube down Marcus's throat to deliver oxygen straight to his lungs, which no longer function on their own. A mask is secured, and another paramedic manually pumps air into his chest. The fight to bring Marcus back to life is brutal, contrasting with the eerie silence that fills the room. For 10 agonizing minutes, they fight the battle between life and death. Every attempt to revive Marcus is a heroic effort against a fate already sealed. The compressions continue. The defibrillator fires again, nothing changes. The seconds crawl by, each one a harsh reminder of the fragility of life. Finally, the lead medic glances at his team and gives the nod. The battle is lost. Marcus Jackson, the king of music, has given his final performance. The room falls into a heavy silence as the paramedics stop, their hands now trembling, and all eyes turn to his motionless body. Time of death, 2 p.m. The end of Marcus Jackson is sealed. A supernatural event begins to unfold. The room, draped in shadows and faint slivers of sunlight, is suddenly bathed in a brilliant, otherworldly light. Not an ordinary light, it's the ray of death. Invisible to human eyes, but I, Lucius, see it clearly. It descends slowly with overwhelming intensity. The moment it touches Marcus's body, the effect is instantaneous. His skin shivers under the icy, cutting touch. The air crackles with static, as if the very fabric of reality is being torn apart. When the ray strikes, Marcus's body convulses involuntarily. A surge of energy pulses through every cell like a silent electrical current. His muscles, relaxed by death's grip, tense for an instant, and his breath halts completely. The light is blinding, and within seconds, his skin begins to softly glow, as if absorbing its power. His veins seem to throb, but no life remains. His heart, long stopped, cannot find a rhythm. Every atom of Marcus's being responds to the ray's touch, reverberating in a final harmony with the universe. The room bows in silent respect as Marcus's essence begins to drift away, his body slowly dissolving from the physical realm, transcending into another plane. The discharge seals his passage, marking the final end of his journey as a musical icon on Earth. The transition is complete. I approach with the reverence his soul deserves. Marcus floats between life and death, his essence still tethered to his flesh by the silver cord. With compassion, love, and quiet solemnity, I lean in and gently cut the cord binding him to this dimension. The cut is soft but final. Marcus no longer belongs to the earthly world. His body, now still and serene, lies in rest while his soul, finally freed, ascends. There is no more pain, no more pressure, no more expectations. He is, at last, a pure essence, ready to tread new paths, far from the constraints of the flesh. I move closer to Marcus, now free from the physical chains, drifting between the world he once knew and the unknown. His essence feels calm, but there's still a quiet doubt in his eyes. He looks at me, searching for answers. Marcus, I say gently, you fulfilled your purpose with greatness. You brought joy, hope, and emotion to countless lives with your music and dance. Your soul touched the heart of the world, and today you are more than just a man. You have become a legend, a star that will never stop shining in the universe of pop music. He gazes at me, absorbing my words, still with a slight hesitation about leaving it all behind. But now, I continue, It's time for you to leave. The earthly stage is no longer your place. Your light will continue to illuminate generations, even though your body is gone. Your legacy, Marcus, will live beyond time. You've earned this, and now you can move forward. The silence is thick. Marcus finally understands. His eyes, once full of uncertainty, soften. He looks at me one last time, and with a small smile, he simply nods. There is nothing more to say. He is ready. I extend my hand and he takes it, no longer as a lost star, but as a soul whole and at peace. Together, we leave behind the body that once made the world dance. The cycle is complete, the end of a man and the birth of a legend. I, Lucius Aeternus, watching the unceasing cycle of life, tell you, my friend, that the end is merely a new journey. One day, we will all face the unknown, and it's our legacy that will live on through time. Until then, let your life shine, for the mark we leave echoes into eternity. And one day we will meet again, on the day of your death.
In shadows I walk. I've been here from the start. I am the hand that seals fate, the end of every heart. I'm no villain nor hero. I'm the peace amidst the pain, the angel who comes, who takes, yet offers love again. I am the dance of the eternal, the final breath, the subtle touch that brings an end to death. I am the calm in chaos, the shadow in the light, the cycle of life that guides through the night.